Stacey Mitchell was the elegant aunt everyone admired. Nathan Reed was the quiet 20-year-old nephew no one suspected until their secret affair spiraled into obsession, betrayal, and a murder that shattered an entire town. It began in a quiet, suburban neighborhood in Elmswood, Kentucky, a town so calm and predictable that the residents rarely locked their doors. Rows of modest brick homes lined the streets, with children riding bicycles and elderly couples tending flower beds. It was the kind of place where everyone knew each other's name, and gossip moved faster than the mail. Stacey Mitchell, 42, was a well-liked figure in the community. She was elegant, organized, and known for hosting charity events and book clubs. Her house was always spotless, decorated with tasteful vintage furniture and warm lighting. She was unmarried but had a steady job at a local accounting firm and seemed to live a quiet, stable life. Her nephew by marriage, Nathan Reed, had recently turned 20 and moved into his mother's home just a few blocks away. Nathan was enrolled in a local college, pursuing a degree in computer science. Though quiet and introverted, he was considered polite and well-mannered by neighbors. He often jogged around the neighborhood and sometimes helped elderly residents with chores. Nathan and Stacey's connection began innocently. They bonded over shared interests, old movies, classic literature, and cooking. He began visiting her house frequently, especially during weekends. Stacey welcomed the company, often preparing elaborate dinners and discussing books with him late into the evening. Over time, their bond deepened. Friends and neighbors noticed their closeness, but didn't find it alarming. Nathan was, after all, family. Stacey was like a mentor to him, a guiding adult figure in his otherwise turbulent life. But behind the curtains of her neatly kept home, a different story was beginning to unfold, one that would ultimately lead to devastation. By late spring, the line between familial affection and forbidden desire began to blur. Stacey found herself drawn to Nathan's youthful energy, while Nathan, grappling with his own insecurities and emotional voids, clung to her attention. The emotional intimacy they shared soon turned physical. The affair was carefully hidden. Nathan would arrive at Stacey's home late at night, sometimes under the pretense of working on school assignments. She kept the curtains closed and ensured he left before dawn. They communicated through encrypted apps, using code names and deleting messages after every exchange. As their relationship intensified, so did the risks. Nathan began skipping classes, lying to his mother, and isolating himself from his peers. Stacey became paranoid, constantly checking over her shoulder and jumping at unexpected knocks on the door. Despite the fear of being caught, they couldn't seem to stop. Their secret world was thrilling, but also deeply toxic. Stacey began feeling trapped, torn between guilt and desire. She tried to create emotional distance, encouraging Nathan to focus on his studies and friends. But Nathan interpreted her withdrawal as betrayal. Nathan's behavior became erratic. He began showing up unannounced, growing jealous of other men who interacted with Stacey, and leaving notes on her car windshield when she didn't respond to his messages. The dynamic shifted. What had once felt like a passionate escape turned into a looming threat neither could control. The turning point came on a rainy afternoon in September. Stacey's sister, Laura, accidentally discovered a printed photo tucked inside Nathan's desk drawer while cleaning. It was a candid image of Stacey, clearly taken without her knowledge. Curious and alarmed, Laura continued searching and found an entire folder of hidden photos, personal letters, and screenshots of text conversations. Some of the images were intimate. Some of the letters expressed love and obsession. One, in Nathan's handwriting, hinted at a plan to never let her go. Laura's shock quickly turned to horror. She immediately called the police. Authorities launched an investigation, and the pieces began falling into place. Forensic analysts retrieved deleted messages and call logs from Stacey's phone. Surveillance footage from a gas station showed Nathan visiting her home at strange hours. When confronted, Stacey broke down. She admitted to the affair but claimed it had ended weeks ago. She insisted she had tried to sever ties, but Nathan became increasingly unstable and threatening. Nathan, however, remained silent during questioning. News of the affair spread like wildfire. Stacey lost her job and was publicly shamed. Nathan was ordered into psychiatric evaluation and placed under temporary house arrest. The community was stunned. The once charming pair had become the subject of national headlines. But even as the town grappled with the shock, no one anticipated how much darker the story would become. For weeks, things remained tense but quiet. Stacey moved in with a former colleague 2 towns away and changed her number. She tried to rebuild her life, keeping to herself and rarely going out, but the trauma lingered. She kept looking over her shoulder, convinced that Nathan was still watching. Her fears weren't unfounded. Nathan had stolen her new address from his mother's phone and was secretly monitoring her. He followed her from a distance, tracked her social media activity, and even installed a hidden camera in a tree facing her new residence. On a cold Thursday night in November, Stacey was found dead by her roommate. Her skull had been crushed with a heavy object. Blood was splattered across the hardwood floor. The house showed no signs of forced entry, and her phone and laptop were missing. Investigators quickly connected the dots. Nathan had gone missing 2 days earlier. His phone was turned off, and his last known location was near Stacey's home. Surveillance footage captured him buying gloves, rope, and a hammer at a hardware store. Police launched a manhunt. 3 days later, Nathan was found hiding in an abandoned warehouse outside town. He was dirty, exhausted, and carrying a duffel bag filled with Stacey's personal items. Inside was a notebook containing detailed notes about the murder, including a diagram of her house. The town was in disbelief. A young man once considered harmless had committed a brutal, calculated murder. It was no longer just a scandal, it was a tragedy. The trial began 6 months later. Nathan pleaded guilty to first-degree murder, avoiding the death penalty in exchange for a life sentence without parole. The courtroom was filled with reporters, townspeople, and grieving family members. The evidence was overwhelming. Prosecutors revealed Nathan's journal, which included disturbing entries about owning Stacey, fantasies of running away with her, and violent thoughts about anyone who came between them. Psychological evaluations diagnosed him with delusional disorder and obsessive tendencies. Stacey's family remained divided. Her sister blamed herself for not acting sooner. Her parents refused to speak publicly, devastated by both the scandal and the loss. Nathan's mother moved away, unable to face the judgment and whispers. The house where Stacey was murdered was eventually sold, though many refused to live near it. For years, teenagers dared each other to walk past it at night, calling it the cursed house. Online forums picked apart the story, analyzing the power dynamics, mental health implications, and morality of the affair. It became a case study in law schools and a cautionary tale in social circles. To this day, people in Elmswood speak of Stacey and Nathan in hushed tones, as a painful reminder that appearances deceive, secrets destroy, and passion, when left unchecked, can turn deadly.